In my paintings, I'm always thinking about heads. Heads just pop up all over the place. There's faces, there's noses, there's chins. There's a lot of attention above the shoulders. They kind of seem to reproduce on their own within the paintings. I think it's something to do with the body as this visceral thing, and then the head as this more rational kind of thinking part of the human. And so I like to take the head, but then turn it into a body, so that the head suddenly has an elbow growing out of it, or the head has this ridiculously long nose, which kind of mocks the authority of the rational decision maker. That plays out across all the paintings. There's this propagation of heads. They're kind of being born, they're being birthed. It's like head birth, constantly reproducing itself. Language is this rational structure that we all kind of take for granted. We think in language, we communicate in language, but to try to show whether it's a simple verbal exchange or a more detailed debate or negotiation, to try to capture that visually, I think that painting is uniquely placed to try to show that, and that's what this body of work is about. In this show, I'm trying to bring together really intense clusters of bodies and heads and objects, semi-abstract and more formal figurative elements, and everything is coalescing in a really complex and intense way. I'm trying to capture the complexity of communication. The way that people interact is, to me, a kind of miracle, like the way that we can actually understand each other and find common ground. That's a really complicated thing. And so in these paintings, I'm trying to find a visual way to express that. In Merchant's Gambit, for instance, there are these figures jostling and arguing and shouting at each other in this loosely defined marketplace. There are objects or ornaments, things being exchanged, bartered. I'm trying to create this chaos of commerce, really. And in Conference, I guess a more hellish landscape, you could say. It's burning red, there's neon lights, maybe a little bit erotic, or something like there's contraband being exchanged at this conference, perhaps. In Usher's In the Thicket, I wanted to show these heads and these bodies emerging in a loosely foresty environment. And so in this painting, there's this prominent figure who's being marched through the thicket, through the shrubbery as the light begins to diminish. And at the same time, these forest spirits or forest beings or people start to come alive and start to usher this figure through the forest. Again, I like the narrative to be loose and to be open, but there's an interaction, a social engagement that's taking place there.